In the Pits now has a Patreon. Whether you want to get directly involved with the show, have a product or brand you want to promote, or just want to show support, In the Pits Patreon has tiers for all levels. Head to patreon.com/inthepitspaintballpodcast to check out the supporter, sponsor, and partner tiers. Opening up a Patreon was a level I could never have imagined getting to when starting this show a year ago. And whether I get 1,000 subscriptions or not a single one, I'm still super thankful for all of the support I've received from all of you. Enjoy the episode. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these golden eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Uno's Jerky. Made right here in the state of Texas by JC Limon, Uno's has some of the best tasting jerky around, and each flavor has ties back to Texas paintball. I personally recommend the Texas Titan flavor. Head to unosjerky.com and use code PITS10, where a portion of every purchase will go back into the Texas paintball scene. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Skull Monkeys Paintball. Equip, engage, excel. In the Pits is sponsored by FU Athletics, created with a purpose and focused on building a better you. We are a brand that matters in your workout, and every purchase gives back to cancer research. Go to thefuathletics.com and use code INTHEPITS25 for 25% off of your order. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. This episode is brought to us also by Pod Runners Union Local 210. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. So welcome everybody to episode 59 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week we'll have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we are going in the pits with Jeremy Zimmerman, former pro player for the AC program, current coach for Jackpot, and finalist of the Hormesis Elite 1v1 Duel. JZ, how are you doing this evening? I'm feeling good. Finally rehydrated after the absolute scorcher that we had this past weekend. I mean, you played like the most points out of anybody. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, especially with that finals match, you had what? You had two matches that went past 10 points. With first the one with Luke. I think that final score is 11-9. And then your second match was 10-8. And then you beat on, I think your game with Logan was actually your lowest scoring one. I think that was 10-4. And then you had that 14-12, like absolute barn burner. Mm. Oh, give me just a second. I'm seeing in the chat that we're having some audio issues. Give me a second. All right. All right, y'all. So hopefully that'll do it. Thank you, chat. Thank you for that. Let's see if that's fixed. JC's gonna go get his phone charger real quick. But yeah, just we'll say all of that again. But yeah, in the meantime, welcome everybody in the chat. Y'all heard my audio, I think. Yeah, Texas Menace says can't hear JZ's audio. Looks like my audio was still good. Jeremy, go ahead and talk for a sec.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm just trying to find a phone charger at the time being.
Okay, sweet. So it looked like we had a little bit of an audio issue on my end, so we didn't hear anything that you were saying. They could hear me, but they couldn't hear you. So yeah, just tell us how that how was your experience with playing in the duel?
Oh man, it was a lot of fun. Hot. Give me 1 second to get this phone plugged in.
You good?
I'll lose y'all midstream here. Ready. Yeah, it was hot. I had a blast. I had been looking forward to this. I look forward to one-on-ones more than just about anything. They're my jive, man. One-on-ones are when you get that's your opportunity to go out there and show out, everything that you've been working on and, all your individual skills. There's one thing that you can show, you go out there, you practice your ass off, but, if your teammates don't and you get to the event, it shows. One-on-one events, it's complete opposite. You practice your ass off, you go out there, the results usually tend to show. So, man, it was fun, dude. Other than the heat, even with the heat, I had a blast. Hell, the heat just added to the intensity, if you ask me.
Dude, I don't know how you managed to leave that field after the finals without getting carted off, man. It was intense.
Yeah, I definitely had to lay there and catch my breath before I could go over there and shake hands with Jay Money. I was like, hey, dude, just my apologies. Give me a second, brother. I was like, I can't even breathe over here right now.
Yeah.
But, dude, it was hot. I can only imagine with that turf red.
Oh, yeah. I know, me and Jay Money had like a 6.5 minute long point or something like that where both of us were running around picking up paint.
Dude, I watched that. That was crazy, man. That was like one of those moments where I was like, man, if only we could just coach right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I I had that moment in my head. I kept thinking, I was like, should I run him? Because I kept thinking, like, surely, like, he's smart enough to hold on to one ball, right? So that kept me from wanting to go get him. But I definitely should have about, like, probably 3 or 4 minutes sooner.
Maybe. It was something to see though.
Yeah, at least you put on a show, right?
Yeah, it was a blast, man. I had a lot of people drive up to come support me, so that meant a lot to me. You know, guys that I haven't seen in years. You know, my family came out and watched me. Buddies that I just recently pulled back into the game that took over a decade away from the sport. So it meant a lot to me to have that amount of support out there. So yeah, I felt like I had to show up more for them than I did so for myself.
And you definitely did. I mean, I know the finals result obviously wasn't a dub, but like just the way that you played, you definitely like it was obvious that you belonged in the finals and it was going to be like very, very difficult for anyone to take you down.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I was, a lot of people know, as of late, I haven't been playing as much as I used to in the past. I've been coaching a little more here than I've been playing, but I still go out. I still go out whenever I get a chance. So I have a free weekend. Go out to fit, keep the rust off. Bring a bag of paint or two home and snap shoot at some cones, do some running, some shooting at some trees in the backyard. Whatever it takes to keep the rust off. I don't want to can't get out there and have all these points that I've accumulated over the years and start getting dunked on by all y'all young guns out there. It ain't gonna happen.
Hey man, we're coming for you. So good to hear that you're staying on top of your stuff. Like I was gonna ask you, what were some of the things that you did to prepare for this weekend?
I went out to, like I said, I went out to fit a few times. Like I was going for jogs after work. Like I worked 10-hour days welding, and then I was coming home and like going for jogs, like mentally trying to prepare myself for the heat. But about 3 weeks ago, I went out to fit, and I told myself, if I'm specifically going to go out here, I'm just going to try to engage in gunfights. I'm just going to work on my snapshot. And lo and behold, I get out there. Christian, can you still hear me? The screen.
Yeah. Yeah, we got you good.
Okay. So anyways, I get out there and I dive into the snake, and I had only played, a few points at this point. I dive into the snake and my leg, my knee pops and it hurt really bad. And I laid there and crawled up into the snake one. And I couldn't even get up into position to look inside or pretty much do anything. Like it hurt that bad. So I guess people on the sideline saw that I was in pretty bad pain. They stopped the game, helped me get off the field. I couldn't even stand up. So they went out there, they helped me get off the field. So, it's my knee, something happened to my knee, sitting there checking it out, and put some ice on it, wrapped it up, started feeling good after about half hour or so. Put my knee pads back on, pulled my britches up, got back out there, started playing. Finished the day, just kind of slow motioned it the rest of the day. Didn't really do anything too big. Didn't run anywhere off the break. Just kind of took it easy and just told myself to just engage in gun battles. Maybe just walk up, don't run up. So I went out there, finished the day doing that. Went home, was in a lot of pain still. Knew something was definitely wrong. Went into work the next morning, and I do a lot of crawling and climbing around and stuff at work, and I couldn't just go through the normal daily motions that I go through. And I was like, man, something's wrong. So I went up and told the nurse at our job site that I say, I need to leave for the day and go get looked at by a doctor. I hurt my knee yesterday and I'm unable to work. So sure enough, go get my knee looked at. Results come back, and I tore my PCL and sprained my meniscus. Just this whole doctor starts telling me that I can't do anything for 6 to 8 weeks. And so like the only thing that's going through my mind at this point is the one-on-one tournament. And, it's the day after I hurt my knee. And I'm like, well, if I'm not going to play, I need to make that decision very soon because I've already purchased my spot. Like I need to I got to let the Hormesis crew know, like, this isn't just something I can't just not show up for, like maybe I can sell my spot or whatever the case may be. So that's like the only thing that's going through my mind. And I'm like, man, fuck, like, can't just not play it. It's like, it's just a one-on-one. Like, I'm not, I don't need to be like running anywhere or anything crazy like that. So I was like, let me see how serious this is first before I make any rash decisions. So Jay Money actually reached out to me and he's like, hey, would you be interested in selling your spot? I'm trying to get a spot for that one-on-one. And I told him, I was like, you know what? I might be, dude. I was like, let me stay in touch with you over these next few days. I'm going to get my MRI done tomorrow. When I get the results done from my MRI, I'm going to hit you back and I'll let you know where I stand. Well, he happened to find a guy like the next day that was able to give up his spot. So when he reached back out to me, he's like, hey, Jay-Z, don't worry about it. I found a spot. I hope to see you at the event. I hope to see you in finals. But when I fucking read that message, I was like, God damn. If Jay Money signs up for this, it is very likely that him and I could meet in finals. I used to coach his little ass a long time ago. I watched him come up a long way, and it's like, man, like, how cool would that be if, we got to face off in the finals? So I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I was like, fuck, it's just a thought, right? Like, all these thoughts are just racing through my head. And a lot of people started hitting me up, asking me if I wanted to sell my spot. I'm like, man, why aren't they asking anybody else? Fuck this, I'm gonna play. So the decision to play, I just started doing little things around the house, a little extra physical therapy here and there, stretching, just whatever I could do that my body told me I could do and get away with. And I just tried to stay as mentally focused as possible. I knew that I wasn't physically 100%, but I knew that if my mental game stayed strong and I just went out there and made my shots count, that, all the work that I put forth before would pay off. So that was leading up to, that was my training, so to say, leading up to the thing. I was kind of clocked in, dialed in for the longest time, going out, keeping the rust off, training, trying to get my cardio back in shape. And then boom, 3 weeks before the event, get smacked with an injury. But it's like, do you let it hold you down, or do you, just, keep pushing, just, you got to kind of outweigh the consequences versus the, benefits, if there are any. But I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, man. And a lot of people that know me know that. I'm fucking hard-headed as shit. I don't hardly listen to anybody. My body told me I could go, so I went, and shit, I made it to finals. I couldn't pull off the dub, but I couldn't accept. To be honest, man, like, I don't think I could have accepted a loss to anybody else that day other than Jay Money. Like, knowing that kid as long as I have, and it's funny because that day, like I said, my kids came out there to watch me, and my wife was there, and she goes, I remember him when he was our son's age. And my son's like 10, almost 11. It's like, shit, I started thinking about, like, man, I did meet Jay Money almost 10 years ago. And it's like, wow. It's like, it's crazy. I'm at that point in life where you want to give back everything that you've received in this sport and tenfold, because paintball has, I mean, God, I look at everybody around me in my life, all my close friends, like, everybody is from paintball. And to watch people, have the love for the sport that I do, and push and grind and beat themselves up every weekend, and, spend all the extra money they have to, make it happen. It's like you find, you learn to have a new respect for those kind of people. And he's one of them. Shit. So to get the opportunity to go out there and compete against him, to me, it meant a lot. So to lose against him wasn't shit. Like, I've lost a lot of games in this fucking sport, and that one-on-one was definitely one to remember, win or lose.
Definitely. And there's, I know, like, I mean, shoot, he's on the first place semi-pro team. They've won 3 in a row this year. He's absolutely been putting in a ton of work. He's going to be pro at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll be definitely seeing him on the pro field next year.
For sure. And it doesn't surprise me one bit. Like, shoot, going through all those injuries and hearing you're just like, you know what? That ain't shit. I'm going to play anyway. And I don't think anybody in the chat that knows you or anybody listening that knows you is surprised by that even a little bit. So, just going through all of that, just to like just to make it to just to like be able to show up at the field, let alone put on the performance that you did. Absolutely incredible. So like, and to go up against like, obviously J Money, I'm sure there are a couple others that, you said you're kind of in the spot where you're starting to give back to the sport. There's a couple others, not just J Money, that were there that have you to thank for kind of bringing them up. I'm one of them. You coached me for my first NXL event 5-6 years ago now, something like that. So
I'm losing.
Oh, there we go. I think. Can you hear me now? Let's see if we can get him back.
Man, I lost. Oh. That to attribute to me,
I think we got you back now. Yeah.
That was real choppy for a whole minute, brother. I lost you when you started to thank me.
Yeah. Okay. So like, players like J Money, players like myself that you've brought up over the last couple of years, like 6 years ago or 5 years ago was when you coached me at my first NXL event. And yeah, man, just there's so many people that have you to thank. So it's special, like getting those opportunities to go up against, the Padawans going up against the masters here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I look back at my APPA and I realize that I feel like I've coached just as many events as I've played, and it doesn't seem like it.
For sure. I mean, you've been doing it a long time, and you've been giving back for a long time now. So, I mean, just kind of talking about the event itself, obviously, like, what did you think of like the format, and if it were to come back around, would you recommend it to anyone that maybe missed out on the first one?
Absolutely, man. It's great for everybody, all skill levels. I mean, the skill here in Texas is unreal. Growing up, I feel like the scene was California. I feel like nowadays it's definitely Texas. There's no shortage of talent in Texas. I mean, I got put up against this kid that was ranked D5 this past weekend, and I think he went up 3-0 or 4-0 on me or something like that. And I was not out there taking him lightly at all. I intended to go out there and try to mercy rule the kid. I was trying to play my best game. I was playing tight. I was, trying to make my shots, and no shit, kid went out there and smoked me 3 or 4 points in a row and made it look easy. And he did it with skill. He didn't just go out there and get lucky. So yeah, anybody, like I said, man, you put in the time, you go out there and you put in the work, and you're confident in your abilities with a paintball gun, sign your ass up for one of these one-on-ones. Get out there and prove to everybody that doesn't know you who you are and what you're good at, what you're capable of with a paintball gun in your hands. Because we all know how good it feels to shoot people with those guns in our hands. And at the end of the day, the better you are, the better you're going to feel at the end of the day, because the more people you shot, the more games you won, and winning's fun. Playing paintball's fun. So yeah, of course I recommend signing up for these. I mean, they're a blast, dude. I mean, literally from, 11, 12-year-old kids to 60-something-year-old grown men out there playing. This is, you can't beat it. You can't beat stuff like this. It's for everybody.
Yeah, and where else are you going to see, 12-year-old kid Cooper Harrison go on a 7-point streak at the end of the joust to go shut the door on the other team?
See, man, I can't believe I missed that, dude. See, next time I'm going to be out there both days for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Another thing, I know it wasn't on the script that I sent you, but I know that you also participated in the Ultimate Shootout 1v1 a couple of years ago. I just wanted to ask you, like, how was the experience, I guess, more compared to the Ultimate Shootout? What did you think, like, comparing the two?
I will say that the way that the Hormesis setup is, it definitely shows who's the more skilled player, I guess you could say. The way the Ultimate Shootout was set up, I feel like was more for entertainment purposes, or at least maybe that's what they were shooting for. It was still a hell of a lot of fun, but the way that the scoring worked was kind of off to me because, I mean, for instance, like I said, I went, against that other kid that, they had like kill streaks and stuff, and the points varied, and so you could score a lot of points in a very short amount of time, and they necessarily there was one point where I hit all three buzzers, and the only reason I hit all three buzzers was because I knew that my opponent was having gun problems. So I literally told him, I'm not going to shoot the guy. That's 1 point. Get 3 points for each buzzer. I'm going to run and smack these three buzzers as quick as I can, and then I'm going to go shoot him. So it's like little things like that, like kind of take away from the talent aspect of it. I mean, I guess, it made it fun to watch, me running around the field hitting three buzzers, and they're all shooting up big puffs of, clouds of smoke and stuff. But at the end of the day, had that not been a factor in that format, I think that match against that individual would have been a lot closer between us two. But yeah, that's what I would say the differences are between those. The Hormesis one definitely shows true gun skills. I mean, when you're in the heat of the moment of a gun battle, like if you can't lock in and focus on your target, it shows, and it shows really quick, because those are the guys that get shot really fast in gunfights.
Definitely. And I do think that like you said, the goals of the two formats and the two productions were different. Like the Ultimate Shootout was a little bit more for like the viewer experience and like experimenting with new ways to like kind of like present the product of paintball, whereas the Hormesis one was like, hey, we're gonna go find who is the top dog in each of these regions, and then we're gonna go get them all together for the finale, and we're gonna find out who the top dog is in the United States. And like you're seeing pretty like top level gunfighting at each one, and I think like obviously Texas is gonna send a really strong representative for that finale.
Yes, absolutely, man. I am more than looking forward to watching Jay Money go out there and representing Texas.
Definitely. I think he's definitely a favorite to win it all. So
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm already in his ear, so hopefully he can have me in his ear while he's out there just constantly Jay-Z in the back of his head. Oh man.
That'd be a fun one. Yeah, I'm sure all of us are going to be rooting for him for sure. So this next question, well, before we get to our next question, we got a lot of love in the chat. We got let's see. We actually have a question in the chat from Brandon Ortega of BEMRAPS. He asks, what kind of growth or where do you see the 1v1 series going in the future?
Oh, man, I hope that more people realize that one-on-one is an option, like that there's one-on-one formats out there. It's not just these team series. Not everybody out there has a team. A lot of people out there just a couple buddies, or maybe it's a father and son that play paintball, or whatever the case may be. Not everybody out there has a team, but a lot of the people that play, have a love for this game. Or I hope it grows, because no matter what we do with the sport, the more we add to it, it's just going to bring in more people. One-on-ones are a great way to get people involved. Maybe they have a format. Maybe they have a youth division. The youth division would be awesome to see. Maybe 15 to 16 and under, or something like that. Even a masters division. That'd be awesome to see. We got a lot of dudes out there that are 40, 45 plus that are still killing it. And to have all them in their own division, like, that'd be awesome to see. I mean, hell, who didn't watch Mike Tyson and Roy Jones whenever they fought a few years back? You know what I mean? Like, people love seeing stuff like that. So I think the one-on-one format has a lot of room to grow. I just think it needs a little bit more promotion. Maybe the local series need to maybe just try adding a division, open up 8 slots, see if you sell out, see what comes of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so 2 years ago there actually was a 1v1. I don't know if it was a whole series, but I know there was at least one event over in Houston at Splat Zone, which is an indoor field. And the way they did that, it was kind of like a round robin prelims. And Like obviously it was like super nice just because the setup that they have at that indoor field is sick. Like instead of nets, they have like basically windows that you can see onto the field. Obviously the whole thing's air conditioned, and they had a stream setup. And I know that Ryan Smith of Houston Heat was there, like offering, throwing up prizes. They had Hormesis coins for the top four. But like, we need to see more of that. And granted, I know like it's tough in Texas because the calendar's so freaking packed. Like there's an event at Fit, it seems like every 2 or 3 weeks nowadays. So yeah, it's going to be tough to figure out like where to fit it in, but I think there needs to be more of that 1v1 stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, heck, with everything already kind of scheduled out for the rest of the year, maybe it's something that promoters could look into doing in the off season just to kind of keep guys involved and, kind of just keep the money flowing all around. I mean, keep people wanting to go to the local fields, keep guys wanting to compete still. I know during the winter, in Texas, they don't get too bad. I mean, we might have, a few freezes here and there, but hell, even when it does freeze here in Texas, you still got to the paintball field, still find people out there playing. So why not still have a little bit of some kind of a tournament scene going around? I definitely think it'd be something for the promoters to look into.
For sure. Yeah. And I think some of it obviously needs to come from like the players wanting it. Like if they don't want it, that's one thing. But like you're seeing, like they need to try, because I know like, at least in my personal preparation. Oh, it's like this is going to be just thing that happens on and off here.
Brother.
Can you hear me again?
You're good. You're back now, though.
Okay, sweet. So one thing that I did in my personal preparation, getting ready for the joust and the duel, was the weekend before we had the grid set up at X Factor, and like we had, obviously it was like it was the week after USXBL, so we were expecting kind of a lower turnout as far as players there, and we had like 2 separate 1v1 fields like set up so that like obviously I wasn't hogging one entire field just for the 1-on-1s. Other people could go play it, but the strange thing was there were other players there, and rather than like just say, hey, let's try this out, they just like sat around and never geared up. And the second field was being taken by the X Factor Paintball Series 3-man. So like, the alternative was just, hey, just not play and wait a couple hours or go home. Like, so that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we need to be more open to these other formats because it's more than just 5-on-5.
Absolutely, man. I love 1-on-1. That's how you start the morning. That's how you end the day, man.
For sure. But yeah, I'm actually may get the ball rolling on that in the off season. So we'll see.
Hell yeah. Well, you can count me in, man. Anything you need help with, whether it's me playing or just helping out, man. I love some 1-on-1 events all around.
Sick, I'll hit you up. So this next question is brought to us by XTPL Events. So for those, let's talk more about kind of your background. So for those listening that maybe don't know about you personally, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
Oh, man, I think I played my first tournament in 2000. I think it was in 2002. It was 2002 or 2003. It was at Petty Paintball in Austin, Texas. I had already been playing for maybe about a year before then. Let's see. So, yeah, I've been playing for a little over 20 years. I started out there in Central Texas. There was a local field called Blora. It was owned by Black Market Sports. I think it was Black Market Sports since it's been so long. But I was introduced to that field by a buddy of mine that I went to school with. His dad played for, at the time, it was an amateur team out of San Antonio called Fuel. Sure, anybody that's been playing paintball long enough in Texas has heard about Fuel. His dad played for Fuel. His dad was Big Lee, and so him and a couple of the other teammates also lived in the area, and they'd go out to that local field. And that's how we got introduced to the local field. That's how we found out there was a tournament scene in Texas. And so me and my buddies, we built a little 3-man team we called it a team. We never played any events together, but we had our own little team. We'd go out there and get our shit pushed in by these dudes. I mean, these old men were out there just having a field day with us, and they were having fun doing it. And shit, we were having fun getting our asses kicked for whatever reason. But we kept coming back, and eventually, we started talking about it at school, and started finding out, other kids in the school have paintball guns. We're like, let's all meet up, play out in the woods, or so. That happened for a little while, and then it got to the point where it was a specific, consistent group that was coming out to the field. Like, let's build a little team. So, competed at our first tournament, got third place. Come to find out, many years later, some of the guys on the team that got second at the time, Todd Morrow and Derek Jordan, previously of X Factor. So it's kind of cool to go back and think that, guys like us have been, around this game that long. Yeah. And then from there, man, you play your first event, you realize that there's a little community out there. And at the time, forums were a big deal. So, you had PB Nation, of course, it's always been around. But for the Texas scene, it started, or at least whenever I first came around, it was pbubb.com. It was the Paintball Ultimate Bulletin Board. And that lasted for a few years. And then after that, it got shut down. It was Flag Station. Anyway, that's just where everybody kept in touch. After all the local tournaments were posted, gear was sold. It was basically the Facebook of paintball. And, met people on there. Long story short, come to find out that there's this local team, called Bad Kitty that's been winning these, local series, and they're the number one team at this Houston league, but they're located in my area. They play in the area that I play in. So I go to the field that they play at, and I'm expecting to go out there because at the time I'm kind of, at least I think I'm experienced. I've played all these tournaments with my friends, and we've consistently placed, and we've won a couple. They've just been like beginner youth tournaments, right? So like back then, everything was, beginner, rookie, novice, amateur, pro. It wasn't anything, there was no APPA system. There was no points or nothing like that. You just signed up for whatever division you thought you were capable of playing in. So we're out here playing against all these kids thinking we're the shit. And I go out to the field, hoping to meet this team, thinking that I'm going to go out there and just dunk on these dudes and, I don't know, prove whatever point I was trying to make to myself, right? So I go out there and I see these guys, and I bring some buddies with me, and we start playing, and we're getting our ass kicked. And we haven't gotten our ass kicked in a while, at least at like the field, just like going out and practicing. And the guys were really cool. They're asking us like, hey, what's up? Where y'all normally play, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, are y'all looking for a team? And I'm like, man, like, should I, wasn't expecting for these guys to ask me to be on their team. So lo and behold, it was, the Bad Kitty guys ended up joining the team. And from there, man, it just kind of took off, man. I've always loved the game, but, meeting those guys, it's like, it's different. It was a brotherhood. I get pretty emotional talking about this shit just because being around guys like that, like, formed me into the man I am today. And it's like, you can't buy that kind of shit. And to go out and to be able to be a part of a brotherhood like that, it's like, fuck, dude. And it's silly because it's all through paint. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it, man. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you motherfuckers out there are part of it. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, like, you at some point in your life, whether it be through paintball or whatever, you have this group that you are just like, and nothing will ever fucking break that. The memories you share, whatever the case may be, right? So that right there is, it's not why I still play today, but it's definitely something that I continuously cherish. The memories, the victories, the fucking beatdowns we put on people. It's something that you just never let go of. And you learn to teach those moments. You learn to teach people what they need to do with what they have to be able to experience those feelings. And yeah, I don't know, dude. Paintball is just, it's something else, man. Paintball's fucking special, man. The people in paintball are fucking special. The game itself is fucking special. And it's silly because it's fucking paintball.
No, I totally get that.
People always think about paintball and they're like, I was asking this dude at work the other day, you ever played paintball? He's like, oh, I've played a couple times in my backyard. And it's like, you've never, sort of shown them, tournament. I've never even seen anything like that. And it's like, man, like, not many people know what it is, but those of us that do, and those of us that is, that have experienced that camaraderie with a group of fucking dudes that just have the same goals and ambitions that you do. It's like, you're continuously on the hunt for that feeling when it comes to competing and winning. And I don't know, that's what paintball is to me, man. It's just, I don't even know what the fuck you asked before this question, because I got on a tangent talking about. Yeah, dude. I mean, once I joined that team, dude, it was just like, it was a roller coaster, man. Like, I didn't know, like, these fucking dudes are crazy, man. Like, they were always trying to fight people and shit. Like, but it was cool because, like, no one was ever trying to fight them back. So, like, nothing ever really popped off except for one time, but that's a whole nother story. But, man, dude, I mean, it was a time, man. I mean, I played with them for a few years, and then, the guys just kind of grew out of it. I was the kid on the team. They were all a bunch of grown ass dudes. It got to the point where a lot of them wanted to, settle down and, figure out what exactly they wanted to do with life and have families, figure out their careers and whatnot. And, it's totally understandable. I had to do that at some point myself. So, but, I kept playing paintball. So, the team fell apart. I ended up, well, when Bad Kitty was a team, we played a lot of local events. We met this team that was constantly meeting us in finals, Team Zone. And, after I quit playing for Bad Kitty, me and a couple of the guys were asked by Team Zone to come join them. So we did that, rode that out for a little while, made a lot of good friends over there in Houston. Got a lot of love for the whole Houston paintball community. I played there a long time. Played with Houston Zone. Played with Houston Grudge. Jim over there at Zone, he helped me out a lot. Back in the day. Adam Hitchcock, that's my boy. Him and I go way back too. And then after the whole Houston deal, it was just me and a couple of buddies. Everything just kind of fell apart. We got tired of making the 5-hour drive. Every other weekend. I kind of drifted away from paintball at the time. Like, it was like, I didn't really have any close friends that played. Everyone kind of quit playing, and I was the only one that still played. So I was trying to find a home, so to say. Like, there wasn't any fields near my hometown at the time that had competition. There wasn't any real competition in the area. So I couldn't go out there and just, find a team to jump on without traveling. So I just kept playing, tried keeping the rust off. 2009 rolls around. I hear X Factor's having tryouts. They're going to put together a D2 or a semi-pro team. So I go down there, try out, make the team. Shortly after, I think I played one event with that team. I got into some legal issues, young and dumb, out of control, got in some trouble. Decided to take the rest of the year off, get everything situated, get things back in line. I kept playing, I didn't compete anymore. I didn't have the time to compete. I had to make sure that I kind of went down a dark path and started to do a bunch of shit I shouldn't have been doing. It was like, all right, like, let's step back, let's get back in line here. And, paintball has always just been a very good ground for me. So, I've always had that to step back on. But yeah, I quit playing, kind of lost focus, competing and all that. once I realized that I wasn't going to be in like any like serious big trouble or anything like that, started so after that happened, it was around the time that I met my wife, and we dated for a little while. Then while we were dating, we decided to move up to the Dallas area, and that was around the time that I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to be living in the Dallas area, I'm going to go play paintball somewhere because there's just too many paintball fields in the area for me to not go play. And so I'm back home visiting, and there's a little local field in the area called Comanche Badlands. And I see on Facebook, so this was right around the time that AC Dallas was, I think they were D4, and just smashing people. It's like Nathan Roberts, I think Diaz, Cody Zepeda. Like, it was just, at the time, it was just a bunch of kids. And they were out there playing these little local series and smashing people. So I knew who Greg was. I had heard of Greg before. I had never met the guy, but I had heard of Greg, and I heard, he had, come to Texas because he was going to coach, and he was involved with Storm and all that fun stuff. So I hear about this team that he put together and that they're going to be at the local field. So I tell myself, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to check it out and see what they're about. So I go out there and they're playing, and I jump on, and I just jump on with whoever's out there playing. And they just weren't doing that. Like, I was beating a lot of them, and I was kind of like, oh man, like, damn, like, this isn't, I feel like if I joined, like, I just got done playing, I just made a semi-pro team a few years ago. Like, I don't want to, revert back to playing D3 or D4 at this point. I told Greg, I was like, man, or practice goes on or whatever, the day goes on, and he approaches me. He's like, hey, like, what are your plans for the year? Who are you playing with? I'm like, man, I don't have any. I was like, I'm kind of looking for a team. He's like, well, hit me up later on and let's talk. He's like, I'd like to have you come play with us. And it's like, all right, cool. So I asked him, like, hey, I don't want to play D3. I don't want to play D4. Like, what are you thinking? And he was like, well, I'm thinking about putting together a D2 team. I'm like, okay, well, who do you have in mind? Like, is this all, worked out? And he's like, he starts naming all the people that he wants to come, or that he has that's going to play for him. And the one name that stood out was Brandon Mayo. And anybody that played back in the day probably knows Brandon Mayo. Played for a lot of good teams, damn good paintball player. And I was like, oh shit! I was like, well, that name rings a bell. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have him. All the other guys have a lot of experience, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well, the fact that he's even considering me to be on this team says that he sees something in me. So I'm gonna go fucking play with Greg. And at the time, like I said, we had just moved to Dallas, so it all worked out perfect. So at the time, it was AC 402. That was the team that we had the team name that we played under for our first event was AC402.com. And we ended up winning. We played in Division 2, it's the Texas Open, and it was crazy because I didn't meet half the guys. I think we had 6 or 7 guys on the roster, and I met, I think, 4 of them the day before the event at practice. We all knew the codes. We all went over the codes through the group chat and everything. Everyone knew everything, but we didn't know each other. So we got there, we met each other, shook hands. Everyone got all their new gear. And it was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, this is the beginning of building a new team. And then we go out there and we just smash everybody. And we end up winning the fucking event. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm a part of something really fucking good now. Like, I don't know where this is going to go, but, maybe we could take this all the way to the top. Like, fuck, this is the first. I've never won. Before that, I had never won a national event. So that feeling itself was, like, very euphoric. Like, winning a national event, especially your first one, it's like, holy shit, I finally fucking did it. Like, never thought I would have won a national event. You go out there and, you're holding up the trophy, and it's a damn good feeling. So I'm like, well, shit, if we won our first event, we barely know each other. Like, what are we capable of? So at this point, I'm fucking all in. Like, ready to play paintball. I'm ready to fucking go to the paintball field every weekend. I'm ready to fucking ref whatever events I got to ref. Whatever, right? So that was the whole start of the AC thing, man. It just took off from there, man. Paintball, I'm not gonna say it became my life, but I had a newfound appreciation for it because now not only was I winning, but now I found a team that knew what it took to win at the national level. So yeah, that's kind of the history of the teams that I've played for, man. I mean, after the AC program, I took a little break and played for played with the Fit family in 19. But yeah, man, that's the extent of my team history for the most part.
That's a big list of some heavy hitting names for anybody who knows them, for sure. Yeah, I got Jared Sherman's actually in the chat. He said, back when you were talking about like Bad Kitty and everybody being a little bit crazy on the air, he says he remembers you and Mikey pouring a bunch of water on him while he was sleeping at the hotel for his first tournament with Bad Kitty.
Oh man, he's lucky. That's all that happened.
I love it. All right, so you've been a part of this scene for a long time now. So what are some of the things that you've noticed that have changed within the Texas scene over the time period, either for better or for worse?
I feel like the scene was like it was very good at first. It was very between 04 and let's say like 07, 08, paintball was very popular, it seemed like. I mean, I think I went to my first CPPL event in 2004, 2005, and it was held outside of an NFL stadium, sponsored by, this and that energy drink, and there's, vendors everywhere, and it looked like a big deal. It was almost like you're at a huge like concert or music fest or something. And paintball was, it seemed like, we had the, ESP, it was on ESPN. It got, Fox Sports for a little bit. Paintball used to be a big thing. And then, even in Texas, there was a lot of the local scenes. We used to have PAX. There used to be PMI. Hell, even Bunkerfest, the original Bunkerfest dates back all the way to the early 2000s. Not a lot of people know that. And there was a lot of options. There was a lot of teams. There was a lot of, competitiveness. I mean, heck, like I said about it, the Bunkerfest one year they had an all-star event, and they had, pro players from all over the country come down and compete in this all-star event, in Texas. And at the time, that really wasn't, something that anybody did. So the fact that it happened here, like, it was kind of a big deal. But then I don't know if it came with the recession or what, but it just kind of over time, everyone just kind of quit playing. Fields started shutting down. A lot of the tournament series, if they didn't just completely end, the prizes diminish. There was definitely a big gap in there before things started to pick back up. But I'd say in the past, 12, 13 years, paintball here in Texas has definitely flourished. A lot more people are playing. It's the competitiveness is definitely at an all-time high.
Especially in Texas, man. Like, I think part of it, I mean, we saw it this past weekend. Players in the joust, players in the duel that, on paper, maybe it was not predicted to be a close matchup, but like everybody was giving everybody games for sure. And
yeah.
And then you also, like, I say it just about every week, it feels like, but anytime you look at the NXL results, top to bottom, every division, look who's usually in the first place spot. It's usually a Texas team.
Yep. I mean, when I first started playing, we were shooting, either semi uncapped. It was more of a, it wasn't a kid's game back then. It was a bunch of fucking grown ass dudes that had the money to do it out there doing it, and then the occasional kids. And you expected to go out there and get your shit pushed in. You expected to go out there and come home with some lumps on your neck. And nowadays, I don't know, man. People are soft. Y'all are soft out there, man. Y'all can't take a couple extra bonus balls, and y'all be crying when y'all get shot in the back of the head. And it's like, dude, y'all didn't play like we played growing up. Y'all better be lucky the fucking guns only shoot 10 balls a second. Better be fucking lucky there's more refs out there than there was back then. Like, people are soft, man. That was definitely a big change from when paintball, when I first started to now. And granted, now that the competitiveness is at an all-time high here in Texas, I think people are realizing that is part of it. I don't want to call it that meanness, but that factor, that going out there just wanting to hurt your opponent, because it's not football, but to me, paintball is a contact sport. Your intention is to go out there and win, and in order for you to do that, you have to shoot your opponent. And if the opportunity to shoot your opponent is at point blank, you got to be a goddamn fool to not take full advantage of it and put a couple on that dude in somewhere where it's probably going to hurt. I mean, they're just paintballs, right? We're not going to, we're not really going to hurt each other out here. But at the same time, paintballs hurt. They don't tickle when they fucking hit you. So if you don't have like just that itch to want to go out there and just be a little mean, you're never going to reach the top. That's my opinion. Take it for what you want. But if you don't have that bone in you that just makes you want to go out there and just want to hurt somebody on the paintball field, then fucking learn how to learn it, because that's important. Because if not, someone's gonna fucking do it to you, and it's not gonna feel good. And it feels a lot better when you're on the fucking trigger end of that gun. Yeah,
definitely. Feels a lot better to be on the giving end, giving end instead of the receiving end. 100%. And I mean, yeah, like just that that wanting to have like that drive to put a little bit extra on someone, like compare it to other sports. Like look at football, for example. Like if you're gonna lay a block, are you just gonna block the dude? Or if you can pancake the dude, are you gonna pancake him? Or if you're gonna go lay a hit on someone, are you just gonna like shoestring him, or are you gonna blow him up if you can?
Yep, that's the perfect analogy there, brother.
Yeah, I think we all know what the answer is there. So yeah, you definitely need a little bit more of that for some, but at the same time, like, yeah, I think paintball has matured a lot in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And ultimately, is it better for the sport as a whole? I think so, because it's more focused on like, the sport aspect, like the athleticism, the mental game, and yeah, the physical like meanness and toughness is certainly a part of it, and it will always be a part of it. But like it's not like people aren't getting in fist fights in the parking lot, right?
I will say the whole standing over each other, shooting each other till the hoppers are empty, that shit's dumb. Y'all got to stop that. Like, it's cool for the video stuff, but one of y'all is going to get hit over the head with a gun one of these days, and it's not going to be worth it. So y'all just stop that, okay? Just y'all going to fuck around and do it to the wrong person, and some old school dude's going to come out and hit you over the fucking head with a tank, because that shit used to happen all the time back in the day. So y'all just cut that shit out. It's cool to see on videos, but we got enough of it out there to watch. So y'all just need to quit that shit out. A couple extra balls when they're walking off, cool, but y'all quit dumping hoppers on each other. That shit's out of hand.
Yeah, there's definitely a line.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that shit's out of hand, man. Like,
for sure. Yeah. In the comments here in the chat, let's see. Reggie Wilson says Jeremy's a menace to society. So,
boy, Reggie.
All right. Yeah. Eric Crookston, he says if you put it in their neck, they'll be thinking about it next time. 100%. I mean, just like for anybody that played the World Cup layout from this past World Cup, like if you played the wall, or it was like the brick and then the two wings stood up, which is basically a wall, or if you ever played the wall back when the wall was a bunker, like
Yep. Hey, Eric, shout out, man. That's my boy Joker from back in the day, man. Anybody knows Eric knows he's a big reason for meeting a lot of the people I've met throughout the years. So I'd like to give a huge shout out to Eric Crookston, man. He's one of my old OG role models in the game for sure.
Yep, and we've got a lot of love in the chat from a lot of people. We'll go over that here in a little bit. This next question is brought to us by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. So the AC program was a significant chunk of your playing career, be it either AC Dallas, AC Diesel, or one of the other names, AC 402. It was a solid chunk of your playing career. So what were some of the things that you learned while you were a part of the program?
Man, I used to think paintball was all about snap shooting and, maybe some running and shooting and, knowing where all 5 guys were and then just figuring out how to fucking attack them and shoot them all, right? And it worked. The group of guys I had doing it with me, that strategy worked for the division we played in. And, when I came and joined the AC program, it was a huge smack in the face, so to speak. It was like, motherfucker, you don't know shit about paintball. Like, this is a real sport. There's plays, there's zones, there's jobs. There's a reason this program has a fucking coach. So it's like, I relearned the whole game. It was it was more like, oh, we found a guy that knows how to shoot a paintball gun. Now let's teach him how to play paintball. Man, it was a huge learning experience, man. God damn, I learned a lot. Huge shout out to Greg Pauly. Motherfucker taught me a lot about paintball, man. I attribute a lot of my current knowledge to that man, because that dude knows a lot about paintball. He's so smart about breaking down the field and teaching zones, teaching jobs and the importance of your job. And he is just such a good coach. He's a good dude. I consider him a really good friend. Him and I go back, like I said, ever since I joined the AC program, yeah, man, that I can say I relearned paintball when I started getting coached by Greg. It was almost like it's almost like a separate paintball career compared to what I knew before. Just the amount of information that I learned, it's just, I can't explain it, man. I mean, that's one reason I coach nowadays, is to try to spread that while it's as fresh in my memory as it is. It's something that'll definitely stick with me forever, but it's like, paintball is one of those games that if you allow yourself, you continuously learn. The field layouts are always changing, which means, everything's going to change. There is not a single tournament where things will be the same. So paintball is it's never, you always learn. It's never ending. You're constantly learning. And he kind of taught me that. So that's, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I hope that, the way that I feel towards him, that, one day a lot of people feel towards me, and, maybe they're in this, on your show, talking 20 years from now, about, an event we win next year, whatever the case may be. But it's one of the, the AC program was a huge, just like, I don't know. I'll forever be grateful for it. I'll say that for sure. It taught me a lot, man. It was definitely a huge, big breaking moment in my paintball career for sure.
And you see a lot of top players, both like now, and then a couple of players who are not currently in like playing professionally, but like a lot of really like solid individuals came through that program. Like players like, look at obviously Matt and John Jackson, TJ Danner, Nathan Roberts. I think Meter Ninos was a part of the program at some point. Obviously Brad McCurley.
Imagine how long that list is, man. I mean,
yeah, and basically like that list is like, you could, if you're trying to pick out like, hey, you got the list of all of like the all-stars and Hall of Fame players and the list of players that went through the AC program. Like there's going to be a lot of similarities there.
Absolutely.
So this next question is brought to us by Paintball Kumite, which is Colt Roberts' training regimen. You played at the professional level with AC Diesel in the 2020 and the 2021 season. Y'all made Sunday, I think 3 out of 5 times, and y'all beat like really, really good teams at the time, like AC Dallas, your brother team, and then also the Russians before you left the team after the Chicago event of 2021. So what was it that brought about your departure from AC Diesel?
And to be honest, at that, it was time, dude. My kids were starting to grow up. Started competing, baseball, softball, doing jujitsu. And I was, at that level, when you're playing at that level, it's nonstop, especially being local, with the majority of the guys living in the, Dallas area and us, just going pro. It was, constant practice. Like if you live in the area, be at the field. And it got to the point where, I'm missing ball games, I'm missing practices, I'm missing date nights because I got to get to bed early so I can make sure I'm at practice the next morning. And it kind of got to a point where it wasn't fun anymore. And, that's why we do this. We do this because we have fun. And, I started to see it within myself that I just wasn't really enjoying it. It was awesome to achieve that goal, to be able to play on the pro field, and I played at the pro level. But the amount of commitment that it takes, 10 years ago, I'd have been all fucking over it, dude. But having a family and trying to be a part of all that, it's very conflicting. So that was a huge reason I had to step away. I kind of had to find that balance, and when you're spending 80 to 90% of your, free time at the paintball field, kind of paranoid, and it's like shit. Like, and even though the kids would come out there with me when they could, but at the same time, they couldn't always come out there with me because they had ball games some of the times. And it's like, it got to a point where I just had to make that decision. And I'm not a fucking quitter, man. Like, I hate quitting. Like, I don't quit jobs. I don't quitting. And to have to make that decision was very tough. And we're playing some of the best teams in the world. So, there were some events where we weren't winning. And when you're not winning and you're not having fun, it's like, that's when you start to think like, all right, what am I doing? So I had to step back. It was a lot. It's a lot to play at that level. It's a big fucking commitment. It takes a lot of your time, but that's why those guys are as good as they are. I mean, fuck, if you've ever played against a professional paintball player, they put a lot of effort and a lot of time into their skill, into their art, and it shows. So, man, it was a decision I had to make, man. But I can't say I didn't achieve a lifelong goal of mine of saying I played on the pro field. So that was cool, and I can say I did that. But I'm kind of at a point in life now where I just want to teach everybody all the stuff I know, and along the way, fucking lose some points so I can start playing these local events again in a couple of years, my boy.
I think you've got at least a few years before you're going to be at that points threshold, which I think might be good for the rest of us. But man, like, just that it does take a ton of commitment, and I'm sure, like, I'm sure there's nobody out there who's calling Jeremy Zimmerman a quitter. That's for damn sure. So it's just, the commitment, and, unfortunately there's only so many hours in a day, right?
Yep.
So yeah, let's see. Let's look in the chat right here. Let's see. This is from AJ Molinari, who, he was out there coaching me this past weekend. He says, one of the only reasons I stayed around paintball was meeting Jay-Z and Wesley at Zone and having those guys around. So yeah, Yeah, you're still around impacting the game in other ways, right? Not just on the pro field. There's a ton of different parts to this paintball scene as a whole, and everybody's got their part to play.
What's up, AJ? Appreciate that, man. Man, it's just community. The paintball community is something, man. All y'all out there, I love all y'all. Y'all are all awesome. We just gotta keep this, man. This paintball community is it's as close knit I feel like as it has ever been, and you just if we continue that camaraderie across the board, the friendships we make along the way will last forever, guys. That's all I can say, man. It's one of those communities where the friendships you make within this community, they fucking last forever. So.
Yeah, well, it's definitely something special we got going on right now, and looking forward to keeping going and us being able to keep it going. This next question is brought to us by Uno's Jerky. So during your playing career, did you ever have a team or a particular player that you would have considered as a rival?
Oh man. The years with Bad Kitty, man, it's my, I'd say the few that are worth mentioning would have to be Team Zone out of Houston. It was always us and them in finals. And then I feel like that was very consistent for a couple of years. Us and Zone, back and forth. And then all of a sudden, this team came out of nowhere called Justice League popped up. And all these long, blonde-haired kids from the Dallas area started running around and meeting at local events. So that became a big rival of ours as well. I think that rival might have only lasted a season, but man, those Justice League cats, man, they were solid, man. And Zone, like I said, we ended up joining forces with Zone after the team fell apart. So it was kind of like first place and second place teams constantly back and forth. Let's just join forces and see what we can do together after these teams, after we fell apart. So,
gotcha. Yeah, man. So let's see. This next question is brought to us by FU Athletics. Go to thefuathletics.com. Use code inthepits25 for 25% off of your order. Do you have a single favorite moment in your career so far?
Oh, man. A single moment would be very hard to pinpoint. What is it, 23 years, give or take, of playing paintball. It's like, there's memories that I'll probably never, I think the best memories are probably made off the field. No doubt there's, many of memories of standing on the podium or winning an event. But to sit here and say that I have one single memory that just stands out above the rest, I can't, man. I mean, there's so many good memories made. It's like, the 2019 season, I played D3 that year with Fit. That's whenever I took a little break from playing with D for a couple of years and started playing with Fit. And I only came back to play that year. I coached that first year. I coached the first event of that year. I think it was in Vegas. And I was out there coaching, and I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't watch paintball and not play paintball. That's what it was. And I just knew I had it in me. And I was like, what the hell am I doing over here at the clipboard? Like, I need to have my ass on the field. Like, I kind of got to the point where I was starting to tell myself, like, we need to go ahead and just kind of step back from it a little bit. So that's what I was trying to do by coaching. And it didn't work. I fucking coached one event, right back out there. Goddamn, I was going off on a tangent with that, but yeah. So I started playing again. We won 3 out of the 4 events I played with them that year, we won 4 out of the 5 events as the team. I think 3 of the 4 with them. or something like that. It was a damn good year. But that year we won Cup. I got to play it was like a little knockoff thing that they did at Cup for the local. At the time, I was playing with a TOG at the USXBLs, and we won the USXBL series, so we got an invite to compete at the Cup for the national local thing or whatever. We won that. So like 2019 was like a roller coaster year. Like I thought I was going to quit playing, and then I started playing, and then we just won like everything we played that year. And the next year I'm going pro, and it was like that was not expected. Like I was at the point of my life where I was kind of ready to step back from paintball, and then I got called back in. It's because I wanted to go play pro. But I mean that was a defining moment. You know, getting asked to join Diesel again. You know, when they earned their pro spot. I wasn't a part of the team when they earned their pro spot, so getting asked to join the team after they did. You know, winning Bunker Fest and I think it was 2004, 2005. You know, I think we won, and there were 70-something teams in our division. We won an entire airball field. Like, that was a pretty good memory. I mean, you know, having my, you know, family and wife and kids at the events that I win, like, those are very memorable moments, standing on the podium, looking at the crowd. And, you know, that's the only person you see, the only people you care to see, just to see them seeing you with all the emotion and the joy that you have. It's like those moments feel good. You spend a lot of time away from them, and then for them to be able to go watch you, you know, cherish, you know, enjoy that moment. So, you know, paintball, man, to sit here and say that I got one memory and 6 out of the line. There's so many memories to be made in this game, man. I probably forget more than I'll ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that so I think we lost Jeremy for a second there, but just something I'll say while we're hoping that he gets reconnected here. Oh, there we go. I think we got you back. So yeah, something that I'll add on to that is, yep. I think we caught all of your speech there, and then it cut out right afterward. So yeah, just something I'll add to that was yeah, the best moments are definitely off the field. And I think everybody who's been in the game knows that. And yeah, just like, and even like the photos that you get from events, like the best photos aren't the ones like of you on the field or going to run someone down. No, it's definitely like the stuff like in between matches or in the pits. Off the field are the best moments for sure.
For sure. So
this next question is brought to us by BEMRAPS. So looking to kind of what you're doing right now, you are one of the coaches for Team Jackpot out of X Factor. And for being a new program, they've already gotten several impressive finishes this year. They've gotten a 3rd place at NXL Philadelphia in D4 X Ball, and then 3rd places in D4 and D5 X Ball at USXBL this year. So how did you get connected with Jackpot?
And I heard through a friend that they were looking for a coach, that they were possibly looking to add some players to their team. I didn't know a single person on the team. A buddy of mine saw a post on Facebook about it, sent me the link. I reached out to the guy. Just kind of told him, say, hey, man, if you're interested in having a coach, let's talk. Played paintball a long time. Like, I'd like to help y'all. So him and I got to talking. I was in the talks with another team that I was considering coaching as well. And it was a semi-pro team. And I knew that was going to be a lot of commitment. And it was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna coach with a high level of commitment if I can play. Like, I'd rather play. Like, I don't know. And I don't know, it just didn't seem like the right fit. So me and this guy are talking, and cool dude. Shout out Matt Blanco, captain, the owner of Jackpot. We got to chopping it up, got to talking. Come to find out, he's got a boy. His son Cameron anybody out there that's seen Cameron Ball, but the kid is a killer. When you get a chance, please go check that kid out. He's a beast out there. But yeah, I found out that, they had just started playing paintball last year, and he's trying to put this team together based around this kid. So I'm like, all right, I can get down with that. So, what are the details? So we're down here in San Antonio. I'm like, oh shit, I'm up here in Dallas. I don't know how this is gonna work out, but let's see if there's some kind of mutual agreement we can make. See if we can make something happen. He's like, well, I'm also working with Jesse Stevens. I'm like, great. Jesse, Jesse go way back. We used to play on diesel together. Like me and Jesse are boys. We go back. So he tells me he's working with Jesse, and I'm like, all right, well, that's perfect then. So y'all are in San Antonio, you work with Jesse. Whenever I can, I'll go down there and work with y'all. If y'all are able to come up to Paintball Fit, y'all come up to Paintball Fit, and I can work with you. I'll make every single event I can. So kind of just that's where that went. And
I think we lost you there for a bit. Oh. All right, so give me just a second. We'll try and get him back on. Oh, yep, there we go. Jay-Z, can you hear me?
I can't. Tell me what you heard last.
Last was just finishing up with about like being down at X Factor with Jesse, and then you would go down whenever you could.
Yeah. So like I told him, I can't promise that I'll be there at every single practice that y'all will be there, but I can promise that I'll make as many as I can. So we come to this agreement, and man, it's worked out great, dude. I mean, like I said, I got the help of Jesse Stevens down at X Factor. I'm dealing with a great dude in Matt. I got a great team. All the guys on the team, some of them go way back with me. I pulled some from out of the woodwork, got them playing again. Some of the cats on the team are all new, but everyone gets along great. It's one of these things that I'm kind of, I'm going to say from the outside looking in, but as the coach, not a player, it's like I see something that can be built from the ground up into something good, and I've been a part of that before, and I know what it takes to, I know what tools to necessary to make that happen. I see it. So, I know it's saying, a lot saying, maybe this team is,
Hey, Jeremy, it's
pro one day, whatever, but
we're getting it's kind of going in and out here. So here, let's try this. Go ahead and turn your camera off, and actually I'll turn my camera off so that you can't see me. That might help with the connection. Here, go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, the audio is a lot better now, so I think we'll just continue this way.
Sounds good, man.
All right, so yeah, you're working with Jesse, and pulling some guys kind of that haven't been playing for a little bit back into it.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. But yeah, so that's kind of how that's how that went, and it's a brand new team. This is their first year competing, but yeah, it's been great so far. They've came a long way. They're learning the game. They're putting in the time. They want to win. I mean, we had some goals. When we first established the team, and what we were wanting to do this year, and getting out of prelims, was one of them. Getting on the podium was one of them. And it's like, we started doing these things at like the first event, and it's like, okay, well, let's go ahead and, let's just set the bar a little bit higher and see what we can achieve. But these guys are all about it. They're putting in the time, they listen. So yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of it, man. I'm glad I ran across this group. It's not every day that you come across a group of dudes like this that want to get better together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're definitely putting in a lot of work, and I think the results show. So this next question is brought to us by Hydra. So what's next for you in Jackpot?
Well, XCPL in 2 weeks, then practice, then Chicago, then practice, then I think USXBO, then probably practice, and then I think Cup. So the schedule's pretty heavy for these next few months. But
Gotcha.
yeah, just other than them trying to get in as many reps as they can, tournament wise, just trying to teach these guys to take things one event at a time. Trying to help just continue to build the camaraderie between everyone. Teaching them that's very important that we all bond on and off the field. Any bickering off the field or on the field, like that shit ain't gonna fly. Like that's the type of stuff that'll make a winning team lose. We didn't really have any intentions at the beginning of this year of playing outside of D5, but once we got to talking and kind of established the team and who we were going to have on the team, we obviously had to make the decision to play D4, even though points wise, we had a few D4 guys, but yeah, that's our focus for now. Just focusing on D4 and building the team up from there and just taking it one weekend at a time.
For sure. Well, I didn't know that y'all were going to be going to play Chicago, so that'll be, hopefully go from being third place to getting a win on the board for y'all.
That'd be awesome. That's definitely on the list this year. If we can get a dub, that'd be awesome.
For sure. All right. So everybody that's in the chat here, we're getting to the end of our show. So if there's something that you want to ask Jay-Z, go ahead and get it in now. This next question is brought to us by Get That Shot. So message him on Facebook or Instagram for media coverage at either Bunkerfest or NXL. So are there any Texas-based teams, players, brands, or projects that have caught your attention lately? So anybody involved in the Texas scene at all, however which way they're involved, whether they're a player or maybe a field owner or media person, whatever they do in the scene, who do you think deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
Well, I don't think recognition is the issue, but first and foremost, huge shout out to the Lucals and the entire Fit family. They do so much for me that I'll never be able to repay the amount of just help they've always been there for me. I've known JD and Sarah since the original XTPLs. I don't even remember how old I was. I was probably 15 years old. They have always been such great people. I got to play the 19 season with them. What the boys are doing this year out there on the semi-pro field is nothing short of remarkable. So, keep that up. Definitely wanted to shout that out. There's a lot out there, dude. I want to give a shout out to the entire Austin Notorious crew. My boy Jared Sherman. They got that pro spot this year. They my boys Fit out for it, but they got it. Fit will be up there with them next year, and I can't wait to see them out there shooting it out. If you're in the Austin area, hit my boy Jared up. He'll teach you how to do a thing or two out there on the paintball field. And Nico Hyde, the Enjoy Paintball brand, he does some really cool things with that brand. I like the gear he makes. Man, Robert Jordan, aka Big Daddy Cool, man, I love that man, dude. That dude puts the biggest smile on my face every time I see him. So that dude obviously gets an honorable mention for sure. Man, Gangster Paintball, they're a Texas company. Shout out to them. One of the coolest logos in the game. My boy Ulysses over there, he's always been there for me. He's always been in my corner. So huge shout out to them. Man, yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop with who's new and whatnot. You just kind of told me earlier. I didn't even realize that Project was a Texas brand. So shout out to them as well. Yeah, man, that's what I got for now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good people in Texas, and there have been for quite some time.
Texas paintball scene's popping off, man.
Definitely, yeah. So let's scroll back through the chat before we close it out here. See, got some love from JC Limon, from Brandon Ortega. Dan Shelley saying, let's go. See, Dan Shelley said he thought your V-Force Profire looked fire past weekend.
I appreciate.
Yeah, from
Shout out to my gift from my boy Wesley. So shout out to Wesley for the gift.
For sure. From Tenaris says Jeremy is a great dude. He has never done nothing but be supporting of everyone on the field, especially newer players.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, let's see who else is on here. I think that's about it. And then, more shout outs to Jared Sherman, Aaron Hitchcock, Eric Crookston, and AJ. And then in the chat here from Crystal Zimmerman says, love Jay-Z Jr. in the house.
Shout out to my family, man. I couldn't. My wife is the most supportive wife ever, man. When we first got together, that was one thing I told her was, look, I play paintball. I play a lot of paintball, so I don't think she realized at the time what that meant, but she has stuck by my side this entire time. She is my number one supporter, and I couldn't do this without her, man. So huge shout out to my wife. I love you, babe.
Yep. Shout out. All right. That I think does it. So this final question is brought to you by Compete. Message them on Facebook or Instagram, and that's Jell Stewart's brand. So message him and mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So Jay-Z, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's a part of this Texas paintball community, man. Y'all, grab a friend, grab some coworkers, just invite them out one weekend, find a weekend that everybody's available and just go play some paintball, man. And, get people in the sport, get your kids a 50 cal gun, get people involved, man. Let's grow the sport together. Let's keep the camaraderie up. Let's build this community. And, yeah, man, let's keep it up, man. I can't wait to just keep meeting more people, man. That's why I'm still here. I just want to keep making more friends. So, if you don't know me and you're watching this show and you see me at a field, come say what's up, man. That's, I love meeting new people. So, shout out to all the folks I don't know. Come meet your boy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come say hi. Anybody, if you see someone that is out there, do not be afraid to approach anybody in paintball. Everybody is super friendly, super, if you're just saying what's up or if you need advice on something, yeah, just come say hi. Don't be afraid to make that connection with someone. All right.
You might make a friend for life out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah.
Christian, thank you. Huge shout out to you for having me on, man. I appreciate you asking me to be on this show, man. It means a lot, brother.
Yeah, appreciate that. I mean, you've got a big story. You're a big part of the scene. So had to do the scene justice by getting you on here.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. So that does it. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Be sure to go follow Jeremy on Instagram. That's at JeremyZ_11. So what other guests would y'all like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast. Recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. Shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon: FU Athletics, Get Dat Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, Bemraps, Skull Monkeys Paintball, Hydra, XDPL Events, Uno's Jerky, Mariachi, Aguilas de Oro, and our newest Patreon partner tier member, Podrunner Union Local 210, which is Sasha Zucker. So see you guys next week. We'll have episode 60, and we're going to have the man, the myth, the Amish assassin, the Rumspringer Reaper, J Money, Jacob Johnson, the winner of the Hormesis Elite 1v1 duel for the Texas region, and it's gonna be a banger for sure, so don't miss it. Jeremy, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for joining us, man. It's a honor to have you on.
Hey, likewise, brother. I'll see you soon, man.
All right, y'all. We'll see you all next week. Take care.